Hello and welcome to a live deprogram with Keri Smith. I am your host, Keri. Today is Friday, August 22nd, and I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for your patience, getting started a little bit late, but not too bad, not too bad today. A couple of announcements. We had a big week. I'm trying to get back on a regular schedule post-surgery, and so we're back to Mondays and Fridays. People are asking Mondays and Fridays at 2:00 Central. And then this Wednesday, instead of doing a pop culture or Christian panel, I had to travel on Wednesday. So I put out the pre-recorded interview. So this week, Monday, if you missed it, I had a live interview at our regular time at 2:00 with Razor Fist. That was so much fun. It was lively. He's such an interesting character / person. He's one of those people who, like, he's part comedian, and you're always wondering. I was talking to him beforehand, like, how much of your persona on camera is the same as off, and it's pretty much the same. He just has to elevate it a bit for the rants, when you're recording, but he's pretty much the same. That was so much fun. So go and watch that. And then on Wednesday, I could use your help with this one. This is Wednesday's interview. It was pre-recorded, and it was with FBI whistleblower Marcus Allen. And I was blown away by this guy. First of all, I got to ask him all the questions you would ever want to ask a sincere and honest former Fed. That was amazing that he was even game for that. And then the other surprising thing was just how much he pointed people to Christ. He's probably I was kind of joking around afterwards, but I'm serious. If you look up a picture of a strong masculine man in the dictionary, it should be a picture of Marcus Allen. This guy has so much integrity, and it's so rare in today's world to see that. Someone who was willing to put everything on the line for truth and for his faith. And you don't see public servants like that. And of course, Biden's administration retaliated against him, tried to cancel him, put him on leave for 2 years. He couldn't earn a living. His family suffered. He's probably on a list forever. You just have to go watch this interview. This is Wednesday's interview with the FBI whistleblower, Marcus Allen. I could use your help with this one, getting it out there. What I would love to do is I'm going to cut this one into clips. I'm going to put these out, try to get more attention for what he's saying, and him pointing back to his strength coming from Christ so often, which we just don't hear in this world. Like, this is the kind of guy I want to see on bigger platforms. And so I've sent the video out to a couple places, but if you wouldn't mind sending the video to any larger platform that you think would be interested in having Marcus as a guest, he should be on the big shows. So drop it in the links of those. If you're a fan of a show that has a bigger platform, make them aware of him. He's just a role model. He's the role model we need. He's the kind of public servant we need, the kind of husband and father we need. And I just couldn't be more honored that he chose to come to Deprogram and to talk to us. So that was on Wednesday. Yes, Texas Sheep Lady says, and he articulates the truth clearly so anyone can understand the message. That's true. So that's the thank you. Yes. Hey, Anne, the Marcus Allen interview was so good. Epic Mike is here. What's up, Epic Mike? Good to see you. Hello. You guys go check out Epic Mike. Been a while. Want to hear what's up with you, dude? Okay. We're talking about the Cracker Barrel today. Maybe you knew. If you're a regular viewer, you knew I would have something to say because I'm always talking about the barrel. I mean, my husband and I, it's sort of a joke. He thought it was really funny. Several years ago, he was saying I think it was for my birthday, he said, you can pick anywhere you want to go. Let's go out for your birthday dinner. He thought I was going to pick some really fancy restaurant. I was like, let's go to the Cracker Barrel. And I love the barrel. It has nostalgia for me since I was a kid growing up in South Carolina. We would go to the barrel for all of our fancy family get-togethers. We would go after church on Sundays if it was a special day. That was sort of the barrel. I have so many memories of my grandparents there, my extended family, my aunt, my papa. We would sit out on the rocking chairs and play checkers. He would always beat. He was like the checker king. He would always beat everyone at checkers. I have pictures of my family there. I have pictures of my papa, eating his catfish or eating his sundae. Like it's just so much nostalgia from childhood. And then the thing about it is inside with the branding, this is a 50-something-year-old brand, Cracker Barrel. Now I get that it's a chain store. Okay, it's got the food's not great, it's not healthy for you, like any chain restaurant. But as chain restaurants go, what I've appreciated about them is that they stick to what they are, to what works, to what people know them as. They are known as the old country store. That used to be, until this week, that was their tagline. Cracker Barrel, the old country store. They have a whole back story. Oh yeah, somebody's reminding me. Aunt Pinkova says, I laughed when Mr. Allen, she's talking about Wednesday's interview with the FBI whistleblower, when Mr. Allen said his bosses betrayed him in the Barrel parking lot. How dare they? Yes, they betrayed him in the Cracker Barrel parking lot. It all relates. He actually came into my comments and he said, I can't believe this happened with the Cracker Barrel right after we talked. It was part of his FBI whistleblower story, was meeting at the Barrel. Okay. Brahma Bull says, is there a specific clip from Marcus you think we should send out? I will try to get the guys from Ruthless to take a look. They occasionally guest on Megan Kelly. I'm going to clip it up and then I'm going to send it. I'm going to start posting them so you guys can grab the ones you want. And to you, Brahma, I will message you. Okay. So I go to the Cracker Barrel all the time and it's like a date night of choice. I make jokes about it on air, but it's for real. I love the Barrel. It's got the nostalgia. They know what they are. I love the antiques. Each location is different. Somebody went and lovingly picked those antiques and put them all together. They have different sections. Like sometimes they put all antiques from post offices, like all together, or all farming implements over here. Somebody takes the time to arrange them. It's just a great trip down memory lane. Of course, I love vintage stuff. I love antiques. I love history. I love people who preserve it. And so that's what I like about their decor inside. They haven't tried to become like everyone else until now. They've been themselves. They've been, solidly like, we are Cracker Barrel. This is what we do. And of course, their gift shop is a whole experience. And there's a lot of Dolly stuff. And, I just love the Barrel so much. Let me just show you. I'm an OG Cracker. Okay. I'm an OG Cracker Barrel fan from back in the day. Some of you guys know Little Ragamuffin. She has a new company called Peace Love Sew. You should go check it out. peacelovesew.co. That's her website. And she does handmade items. And she made me this Cracker Barrel, this customized Cracker Barrel wallet. She sewed this for me. She took a t-shirt and she made this whole, look, what's in here? A lot of fake $100 bills. I haven't actually started. I just love it so much. I keep some fun stuff in there, but eventually I'm going to use this as my real wallet, but then, it'll get all messed up. But look at that. And look what's right on there. The logo, Herschel. He's right there next to the Barrel. I've even taken that into the Cracker Barrel and shown the ladies and been like, you guys should sell these. So to be fair to restaurants, says Mark, it's a great place. Yes, as far as chain restaurants go, it's been a great place. But apparently, behind the scenes, there's been a lot of woke DEI creep. Apparently, the place is infested with woke ideology. And because it was late to get woke, it's late to stop being woke. We've seen a lot of cultural victories since Trump won. Robbie Starbuck, who I'm about to highlight some of his posts, some of his work. Robbie Starbuck has been at the forefront of putting pressure on a lot of these companies to get rid of their DEI, their racist and sexist DEI policies, hiring policies, all of their indoctrination and propaganda that they're doing to employees. And we've seen so many successes with companies that have stepped away from woke, who've gotten rid of their DEI departments, or who've said, they're going to be getting rid of it. But Cracker Barrel, this happens a lot. Have you noticed when sometimes things reach the South late? Remember when big, tall bangs like that reached the South late? And so we were still spraying our bangs really high up to the ceiling. There's a Southern expression, what is it? The higher the hair, the closer to God. The higher the hair, the closer to heaven. Something like that. We were still wearing hairsprayed bangs way up tall, way after everybody else, because things got there later. And woke got to the South later. And so I think you're going to have to see it. Some of these Southern chains, they're going to get rid of woke more slowly because they just got woke in the past few years. It's new to them. It's like when the soccer mom down the street gets woke, like a new religion, and then suddenly their Facebook changes and everything they're posting is about, like, did you know about white privilege? Let me tell you about white privilege. They're like Jehovah's Witness, except with woke. Let me tell you about our Lord and social Jesus Savior. Social justice Jesus. They're very much evangelists when they first get woke, And Cracker Barrel's kind of like that. They got woke late, and they got woke in part because of a huge organized campaign from woke organizations, woke non-profits. Let me put that word in quotes loosely, non-profits, part of the non-profit industrial complex where they make a lot of money for the activists who work at these organizations, right? So the HRC, the Human Rights Campaign, they're a huge gay woke org. They were one of the ones that they were instrumental in putting pressure on Cracker Barrel. They basically singled Cracker Barrel out. We're going to look through some of the history. In the 90s, they singled them out, said they're racist, said they're homophobic, came up with a woke rating scale. Basically, they didn't call it that, but that's what it was. And then they came up with it, and then they gave the numbers out, and they basically said, you failed. And so Cracker Barrel started tap dancing, trying to get a straight A's on this HRC woke report card. And they've been getting straight A's now for a while. They've been doing all the woke tap dancing behind the scenes. I didn't know all of this was going. I mean, I assume it goes on with all these major corporations, and part of me probably, I just didn't want to look into Cracker Barrel because I loved it so much. I'm like, I don't want to see how woke they are. I would like to continue to go there and really enjoy it. And as long as I didn't see it creeping into the store, which I did not see it in the store. They weren't selling pride crap. They weren't putting pride flags out front. They still had the American flag out front. They weren't changing their restaurant decor. Well, now we can't avoid it. Now it's creep. The DEI and the woke creep went so far that they destroyed this brand. Their logo is 47 years old. They just destroyed it. Their woke CEO destroyed it. They destroyed the decor inside. The first thing I saw was not even the logo change. The first thing I saw was this video. And I said, what? I thought this was a joke at first. I thought this couldn't be real. This is on the End Wokeness X account. Modernized Cracker Barrel interior. Look at this. Look at this bland, boring. It looks like a McDonald's. My friend Terry, he's an old cowboy. My friend Terry in Elgin, he said, it looks like gay Denny's. That's gay Denny's. This is completely this modernized, corporate, bland, boring, stripped of all personality, all character. This could be anywhere, in any place, any city, any restaurant. It's nothing. This is nothing. This made me want to vomit. Yes, I reacted emotionally because I love the barrel. Look at this. Now, maybe you don't know maybe you haven't been to a barrel. I actually saw a bunch of Twitter, a bunch of X people, like, I guess I don't want to call them elite, but people with lots of followers on X who were saying, I don't care about the barrel. I've never been to the barrel. I'm like, where do you live? Okay. One of them was Chris Rufo. Then he reversed course suddenly and said, I do care about the barrel. This is important. But at first he was like, I don't care about the okay. This is my Star Wars moment. This is for me, all of the Star Wars people, Epic Mike, all the sci-fi, all the people who saw woke creeping into their favorite hobby, the knitters, your favorite sport, your pop culture thing, and they took your thing from you, right? And they destroyed it. This is for me, they're taking the barrel. How dare you? This is an American brand, a Southern American brand. How dare you? How dare you take the barrel? Okay, let me share this. If you don't know, maybe you haven't been to a barrel. This is normally what you see when you go into the restaurant. Now you can see these antiques here on the wall. Let me see if I can make this larger. There's the inside, you've got these kind of these chairs that are reminiscent of rocking chairs. On the porch of a Cracker Barrel, they have rocking chairs, actual rocking chairs. You can sit out there. They used to have checkerboards. Like I said, I'd play with my papa. Look, on the every restaurant, somebody goes and collects these antiques, these vintage pieces. There's an old washboard up there. There's personal family heirlooms and photos. The kind of raised glass, the one I'm talking about, where it's the curved glass family portraits. Like, we see those in antique shops all the time. I have a special place in my heart for those. They make me a little emotional because they ended up, somebody's family, their ancestors, their family photos ended up, even tintypes, the old tintypes, right, ended up in this store, ended up in a store. I usually want to buy those kind of things because I feel like it shouldn't stay here. Somebody needs to take this and find their family. I always feel that way. Anyway, they collect these and they put them up, these family photos and ancestors and stuff that made it to antique shops. And it's like a little museum inside. This is why you go to Cracker Barrel. It's the food. Yeah, the food is down home Southern comfort food. If it were distributed by a chain restaurant, that's what it is. Okay. It's not, bacon, eggs, sausage biscuits, that kind of stuff. Chicken fried steak, hush puppies, all the down home food, cornbread, biscuits. None of it's as good as your grandma makes or as good as you can make at home because it is a chain restaurant. But if you want to have Southern style food at a restaurant, you go to Cracker Barrel. But you're not just going for the food, because you could go anywhere for that kind of food. You could find another place that serves that kind of food. You're going for the decor. You're going for the experience. They all have this. You see this fireplace here? They have a mantle. It feels like you're sitting at your Meemaw's house. It feels like you're sitting at your Meemaw's house. I saw some people saying, look, if I pull up to Cracker Barrel on a road trip and Uncle Herschel, that's his name on the logo, who's now missing. If Uncle Herschel is not on the logo, and when I go inside, it doesn't feel like Meemaw's house, we're leaving. Like, we're leaving. We're not staying. You ruined Cracker Barrel. Look above the mantle. They got a gun, a rifle. They've got a deer head on the wall, old clocks. They've got, looks like pictures of, Meemaw and Peepaw. This is what they feel like. Look at the history here. And again, it's different. Every restaurant, you can go to a different location. Even though it's a chain restaurant, somebody selected these antiques and put them up. And sometimes they're specific to they're local. They're specific to the place you're at. And they'll sometimes do a themed wall. Like I said, like this wall right here. Like, they might do one that's all farming antiques, or all kitchen appliances, or, advertisements. They've got the old lamps, the old hurricane lamps hanging from the ceiling, dishware, old antique dishes, photos. Like, this is what it looks like. Now compare that to what we just saw. That's completely like Cracker Barrel, boring, modern. Just what's the point? If I wanted to go to a Denny's, I'd go to a Denny's. If I wanted to go to an IHOP, I'd go to IHOP. Nobody's going to Cracker Barrel for that. And I don't know if they think they're going to attract new people with this. Now, one of my friends was saying online, oh, they have to change because they haven't been doing great in recent years. They saw a drop off in people coming to the restaurant during the COVID years, like a lot of places did. And they haven't really picked up a lot as much as they want to since then. And so they're trying to appeal to younger people. This is what I've seen online. Okay. That's all well and good that they're trying to come up with new ideas to get people back into Cracker Barrel, but they failed. This is objectively, I think, I should say subjectively, but I think also objectively, if you look at the response for the past week, everyone's upset with it. If you look at their stock prices, they failed. This was a terrible branding decision. They miscalculated. Let me show you this. This is a FAFO, right? F around and find out. This is their stock yesterday, the NASDAQ. Cracker Barrel stock crashes after the restaurant chain revealed its redesigned logo. Here's an article from the Independent. Cracker Barrel loses $94 million in a day after disastrous rebrand sparks. Now this part's funny. MAGA outrage. That's hilarious. MAGA. They're calling it MAGA. Now, a couple things. It was down. They did recover. It was down 200 million at some point, and they did rebound. Here we go. CBS's Money Watch reported in the early afternoon Cracker Barrel had lost nearly 200 million, but it was able to make up some ground before the closing bell. So it made up half of that before the closing bell. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but 94 million, almost 100 million lost in a day. The funny thing here is, so the media is trying to make this a right-wing thing, they always try to pit us against each other. They did it with COVID really effectively, right? Like they pretended like it was a right-wing thing or a MAGA thing to oppose authoritarian lockdowns and mask mandates and vax mandates. That wasn't a right-wing thing. It shouldn't have been. It's a liberty thing. Actually, a lot of progressives I knew who knew who they were and knew what they believed and weren't swayed by that kind of propaganda. They were some of the most vocal people I knew against mask mandates, against vax mandates. They were out protesting on the Georgetown Square every week. That was mostly progressives out there. But they were a minority because the gimmick worked. The whole conditioning worked, where they were like, the right is doing, MAGA is doing this, okay? So then all the leftists who are just little robots, they get their marching order. Oh, if MAGA is doing that, I'm doing this, right? So they tried that with the Cracker Barrel thing, with the messaging. They're like, this is a MAGA thing. MAGA. Now, I'm going to take it as a compliment that they think we are this powerful, that MAGA alone, that it's not just like normal Cracker. It's not a wide swath of people who enjoy Cracker Barrel. It's just the MAGA people. Okay, great. It's a compliment. You think we're that powerful? Great. Maybe we are. But they really tried to divide everyone on, even Cracker Barrel. They tried to divide us into party lines. Disastrous rebrand sparks MAGA outrage. The new logo for the restaurant chain has been blasted by Trump's MAGA base, claiming the design is woke and boring. It is woke and boring. It's totally woke and boring. It's completely woke and boring. But here's what's funny. As I mentioned in the description for today's video, shockingly, there's a lot of leftists who are saying they hate the rebrand as well, which does not bode well for them. I have to show you this. This is leftist grifter David Hogg. And David Hogg says, Let's bring the country together and all agree this is bad and needs to be reversed immediately, not for the left or the right, but for America. David Hogg said that. David Hogg is like, this is terrible. And then these pictures of the rebrand. You've got the old Cracker Barrel on the left, and look at what they did. Look at what they took from us. So David Hogg says this is terrible. We need to change this. Let me show you this. This is the official Democrats account on X, the Democrats. They posted the Norman Rockwell meme. Now, first of all, I don't know if you've noticed, but the left, they don't have their own, they're copiers. They're kind of like Satan. He just like copies, he imitates. They can't meme. They don't know how to create memes. They don't know how to make jokes. They don't know how to have style. They just imitate. And so I don't know if you've noticed, but lately Gavin Newsom out of California, who's going to run for president, obviously, he has been mimicking Trump's style. He's been tweeting in all caps like Trump. He's been doing insults and jokes on his Twitter feed. He's trying to imitate Trump. They're the great imitator. And there's by the way, as an aside, I'll do a video on this later. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole today, but there's a lot of woke right accounts, people who pretend to be on the right, people who are white nationalists, racists, anti-Semites, people like the Groypers, Nick Fuentes. They're supporting Gavin Newsom. Okay, that should tell you something about these people. They're supporting Gavin Newsom. They say if he went up against JD Vance, they would vote for Newsom because he's white and his whole family's white, whereas JD Vance is married to an Indian woman. This is really what they're saying. They're posting pictures of Gavin Newsom's family and talking about what a beautiful white family it is. This is what the woke right is doing. I've been telling you, several of us have been telling you for some time, these people are trying to destroy MAGA. They are not conservatives. They support Marxists like Gavin Newsom. Anyway, I'm going to go down that rabbit hole a different time, the Gavin Newsom one. But the point is, Gavin Newsom spoke out against this. He said, you know what he said? He said the new Cracker Barrel redesign is woke. And woke is old and lame. He said something like that. We could go pull that one. But Gavin Newsom. And why are all the leftists? Why are the official Democrats thing? They posted this Norman Rockwell meme. It says, we think the Cracker Barrel rebrand sucks too. Now, this is funny because everybody agrees on this. And the only thing that we agree on, the only thing the PSYOP hasn't worked on in terms of right and left, when they try to do this right and left thing, Democrats think this, Republicans think this. It hasn't worked on Epstein. We all agree that Epstein didn't kill himself and they need to release the files. And it hasn't worked on Cracker Barrel. It didn't work. We all agree that the Cracker Barrel rebrand sucks. But why? Why would Gavin Newsom, the Democrats account, and David Hogg, why would all these leftists start saying woke sucks and the woke rebrand sucks? Why would they say that? Because they're trying to win woke right kind of people. They are actively courting. Gavin Newsom is actively retweeting Nazis. I'm not using the word the way that the woke left uses. I mean actual national socialists who are white identitarians. He's retweeting them because they're complimenting him. They are courting this woke right audience. I'm taking this as a good sign, though, that they're criticizing woke because we've moved the culture, like in the culture wars, we've moved the needle to such a degree that even the Democrats account is saying this sucks. Even woke activists like David Hogg are saying this sucks. They're trying to pander to young men who hate woke. You know, this is what they're doing. So, yes, says Squat and P, they're courting conservatives. But I thought that was interesting because they tried to say MAGA outrage. MAGA outrage. Let me show you one other quick graph. This is one that Joel Berry from the Babylon Bee shared. Joel Berry's a great follow. He says, look at this side by side. Because everybody's saying, oh, they need a rebrand, right? They have to have a rebrand. This is why they're doing this, because they're trying to get people back in the restaurant. And again, to that, I say, well, you failed. You should have done a better rebrand, not this. You shouldn't have completely destroyed your brand and pissed off your loyal customers. I am a loyal customer. If they don't stop, if they don't learn their lesson and realize, oh, we're getting Bud Light, we're getting the Bud Light treatment. If they don't learn from this and reverse this and fire their CEO and bring back Herschel on the logo and stop desecrating the insides of Cracker Barrels, if they don't stop, I'm not going back. I'll never go back, because I want them to learn a lesson, because I'm yes, emotionally, I have nostalgic reasons for why I love what Cracker Barrel is, why I love this brand. Like I said, I'm kind of half joking, but half serious. This is my Star Wars pop culture moment. I'm very pissed. So Joel Berry has this. He says, look, here's 2 different rebrands, okay? Like, there's a way to do this that would have been popular and successful, and they did not go that way. They went the woke, boring, bland way. Joel Berry says, look, American Eagle rebrand on the left versus Cracker Barrel rebrand on the right. Look at the difference. You did a terrible rebrand. A terrible rebrand. No one likes it. Not even the leftists. Okay, this is a great question. The decision was bad, but what was woke about it? Oh, thank you so much for asking this, Kangaroo. I had a couple people asking this. I'm about to go into their woke history. We're going to look at some of the stuff that's led to this. So you could argue, if you just look at their history, they've clearly been infected by woke. We're going to look at that, and their policies have been infected by it, and their website's been infected by it, and this is just an extension of that. But aesthetically, you don't even need to know all of that we're about to look at, because aesthetically, this is a woke decision to make everything look bland and look the same. Woke ideology has an aesthetic. It has it's sort of anti-beauty. You see this when they attack beautiful people like Sydney Sweeney. They want everyone to be quote unquote equal, like in the rubble, kind of like communists, like Marxists, like nobody can be different. There can't be pretty people and ugly people. There can't be, some people who are good at this and some people who are good at that. We can't have gifted and talented programs because we can't say that some people are better than others at some things, right? Like, it's sort of Harrison Bergeron. People talk about that a lot. It's a great Kurt Vonnegut short story if you haven't read it. Harrison Bergeron, you can read it in a sitting. You can find it online for free. It's not a book. It's a short story by Kurt Vonnegut. And in that story, it's sort of this dystopian, I would argue, woke future where the government has gotten rid of all differences. In the interest of equity, they want everyone to feel equal, and nobody can be celebrated for being better than anyone else at anything. And so in this future dystopia, for example, the main character who has a high IQ, he's intelligent. So the government forces him, they handicap him with a little buzzer that goes off in his head. They give him like a chip or something. Excuse me. So when his thoughts are constantly being disrupted, because you can't have someone who's smarter than everyone else, right? In Harrison Bergeron, the ballet dancers, they're watching on television, they're watching a ballet. The ones who are good dancers have weights added to their legs so that they're not better dancers than the mediocre ones. The beautiful people wear bags over their heads so that you can't see that they're more beautiful than you. And so you can see this is sort of an exaggerate, like with anything literature, if you're fictionalizing something, you're trying to exaggerate, or even with works of art, paintings and such, or with characters, you exaggerate to call attention to a truth. You can do that with humor. You can do that with dystopian fiction. Like I said, you can do it with art. You can do it with music. Any number of things. You're exaggerating to draw attention to a truth. Comedians do this a lot. When they do impersonations, they exaggerate to draw your attention to something true that they've observed. And so Harrison Bergeron is an exaggeration of what that kind of world looks like, where there can be no beauty, right? Woke culture, woke ideology has an aesthetic, and that aesthetic is nothing can be more beautiful than anything else. Everything needs to be bland. This is why, in part, they have promoted models. If you look at the outrage over the Sydney Sweeney ad, for example, why are they so angry? Because she is a beautiful white woman who's not fat, who's not trans, who's not any disabled or any of these things, these quote unquote marginalized groups they try to push to the forefront that they've been pushing down our throats. For the past like 5 or 6 years, Calvin Klein, all these brands have been putting obese, quote unquote, gender fluid, ugly individuals in their ads. They've been putting objectively ugly people, objectively obese people in their advertisements and trying to tell us every size is beautiful, every body is beautiful. No, it's not. It's not. They've been trying to tell us men are women. They put in the Bud Light ad, for example, a fake woman. They put Dylan Mulvaney in that ad, putting on a caricature of a woman. All men are women. Anybody can be a woman. No, they can't. Everybody is beautiful. No, it's not. Now, this to say something so plainly sounds offensive in today's woke modern culture because they've so thoroughly brainwashed everyone and made everyone afraid of saying the truth. Some people are smarter than others. It's not offensive. It's just a statement of fact. It's just descriptive. It's not prescriptive. Some people are smarter than others. Some people are objectively more beautiful than others. Some people are more athletically gifted than others. Some people are taller than others. These things are true. They've been trying to push uglification on us. And I think the longer you stay in woke ideology, the more you start to make yourself ugly. The more you start to try, and it's almost like they want a future where everybody looks the same and has the same opinions. And everybody, you can't tell if they're male or female, and there's nothing, and they all have blue hair and they all have the nose ring or whatever, the uglification stuff. I'm not saying, don't get it twisted. I think these things individually can sometimes look appealing depending on the context. I'm just saying this happens to be their costume. This is what they are pushing. Everything's upside down. Yes, the Twilight Zone, says someone in the chat. So this aesthetic that they push with people, where people are uglifying themselves, they also push it with environments. They also are all about depersonalizing, getting rid of anything, especially anything they find by woke standards objectionable, part of tradition. They hate tradition. They hate, quote unquote, the patriarchy. What are the identity groups they hate? Men, white people, straight people, Christians. Like we know the groups they hate, the groups they call the oppressors. They took Herschel in part, not entirely. It's not entirely because of this, but in part, they see this old white guy on the logo, so we have to get rid of him. Yes, that's part of it. It's not the whole reason they did it. They're also just leaning towards this modern look. But they completely destroyed the logo. They got rid of what made it special, what gave it history. Let me read this to you. Steak and Shake popped back at this decision by the Barrel. Steak and Shake says, sometimes I just love this, that other brands are piling on. Like this CEO is cooked, isn't she? She's got everyone against her. MAGA, the woke leftists, even, like Gavin, you've got the Democrats and Gavin Newsom and all these people against it. And other brands are piling on. Steak and Shake says, sometimes people want to change things just to put their own personality on things. At Cracker Barrel, their goal is to just delete the personality altogether, hence the elimination of the old timer from the signage. Heritage is what got Cracker Barrel this far, and now the CEO wants to just scrape it all away. At Steak and Shake, we take pride in our history, our families, and our American values. All are welcome. We will never market ourselves away from our past in a cheap effort to gain the approval of trend seekers. Look at it. And they got the picture of Herschel and the barrel that was removed. Look at it. This is based. Steak and Shake is based. They're reality based. I love it. But they're right. This was about attacking tradition. It was about that. It is about making everything look boring and modern and the same. That is a part of woke aesthetic. Think about the art that they push just in the past few years. The disembodied, what was it? The MLK statue they pushed that was like, we covered on the show, with the disembodied arms. This postmodern crap that's not art. This ugly, objectively ugly stuff. They try and tell you this is art. It's not. Why do they do that? Why do they push ugly things and say this has value when it doesn't? Why do they push ugly people and say this has value when it doesn't? Why do they push unhealthy things on us and tell us these things are good for us when they're not? Like obesity, they push that on us. They've started turning, whenever you see in the stores, they've gotten rid of healthy, normal body size mannequins. Even in Target, they've got these fat mannequins now. That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing. If you think it is, it's infected. It's because you're in this culture that's infected you. It is not good to teach adults and especially little kids that it's normal or good to be fat, that it's either or. It's like, do you like chocolate or vanilla? Like pick one, right? It doesn't matter. You this size, whatever. No, it's bad for you. It's bad for you to be obese. It should not be normalized. We have an obesity epidemic. There's a docuseries out right now about the reality show The Biggest Loser. And it's interesting because it's sort of talking about some of the abuses and how that show had a good premise and then just let it go crazy. Like they exploited people. They did scenes with it. Anyway, it was like some good stuff mixed with like a lot of terrible stuff and a lot of unhealthy stuff for the contestants on the show. But overall, what they started with was a kernel of a good intent, which is at that time, they said, we have this obesity epidemic. I think it was like 1 in 3 people were obese. And if you watch that documentary and they show some of the old footage, I think this was early 2000s, and they were showing footage of Jillian Michaels and one of the other trainers, and they're talking about the obesity epidemic and how this is killing people. 1 in 3. Okay, it's like over it's 1 in 2 now. It's like over 50%. And a lot of people who are obese are raising obese kids. This is not good for them. It is a lie. It is actually objectively harmful to lie to people and tell them that being obese is fine. It's cool. It's not. And so this is all a part of that aesthetic of like, there is no objective truth. This is part of the postmodernism of woke. There is no objective truth. There's no objective reality. There's no objective beauty. Nothing is better than anything else. You've got your truth. I've got my truth. She's got her beauty. He's got his beauty. Unless you highlight the beauty of someone, they know that they're lying, because if you pick an objectively beautiful person like Sydney Sweeney and put her on an ad, they get so mad. Why? Because they know, just like you do, that she is objectively beautiful. How dare you? How dare you put her on an ad? You have to use an ugly person, right? You have to pretend the emperor has clothes on, right? That's what this is. That is why this stripped down, bland, communist, like commie architecture, commie aesthetic, everything looks the same. That is how it's related to woke aesthetically. It's stripping out all the tradition, all the heritage. Okay. I hope I answered that. Thank you for help for that question. It's a great question. I'm going to read some super chats. Before I do, let me show you just one. I had these pictures pulled up to show you at the end. We're going to do a funny. I'm going to show you some of the funny stuff, but I'm going to show you this one now because I think this kind of also is a part of that answer and illustrates it really well. The reason why it's woke aesthetically has been illustrated, exaggerated, if you will, by people creating these memes of individuals who uglified themselves, woke individuals who uglified themselves. And that's why these memes hit so hard, because a good meme, a good joke, a good illustration exaggerates to make a point and makes you laugh but while it's making that point, it's exaggerating. And so people have been making these memes of like the old Cracker Barrel, and you can see on the left there, the old Cracker Barrel logo, old country store, and you've got Herschel and the barrel. And then here on the right, this is their new logo. Look how boring. It reflects the decor change inside, the remodel as well. Just completely bland and boring. It's just, yeah, like a Denny's or they've stripped it of everything. And this meme, this one happens to be one that somebody did of Ellen Page. And on the left, there's a picture of Ellen Page when she looked normal and thriving and like a beautiful young lady. And here she is on the right with her quote unquote trans joy, looking just really worse for wear. And the reason this meme, I hate to explain, it's like a joke if you had to explain it, but the reason this meme works is because it's highlighting that aesthetic, that woke aesthetic, how it uglifies everything and strips it of beauty and purpose. There's another one. Now, this one, I'll have to do a caveat. The picture on the right, apparently, I looked it up because somebody asked, it's AI enhanced. It is from a real picture, but they changed it. They put flowers behind her. It's not actually from the advertising campaign she's doing right now, but this is one of Miley Cyrus. On the left, you've got somewhat normal, except for the eyes, right? Somewhat normal looking Miley Cyrus, and you've got the old Cracker Barrel logo. And then on the right, you've got wokeified Miley Cyrus. This is from a real picture. They've just enhanced it and added flowers, I guess. This is Miley Cyrus on the right with the new Cracker Barrel logo. So people are making these memes, and the reason why these memes hit is because of that woke aesthetic that we all recognize. Like, oh, you're uglifying yourself. You're uglifying your store, right? You're uglifying your restaurant, your brand. You're doing the woke thing. You're making it ugly. That's what's happening. Okay, let me think a couple people, and then we're going to get into some of this history of DEI creep at the barrel, which I was trying not to know about until this happened. I just didn't want to know. You know, you just assume every brand has got this crap now, but you're like, I don't want to know. Now we know. It can't be avoided. They've destroyed the brand. Maybe I should have paid attention sooner. But let me think a couple people first. Mario is here. Hey, Mario. Good looking out. Good being here. Mario Nace for $5. Thanks for the super chat. Says the redesign looks like someone from the communist bloc made it. It's so soulless. Mario, this is like the perfect answer for why is the aesthetic woke? You answered it better than I could have. More succinctly. It looks like commie art. It looks so soulless. Everyone is the same. That nothing is more beautiful than anything else. Like it could be anywhere. When my husband and I were in New York in April, we visited New York City, and I made this video. Some of you may have seen it. I think I just put it on Facebook. It just made me laugh because we got to Times Square, and I knew it was like this, of course, but it was something else when you're walking through it and you see, and you're like, you know, we're in beautiful Times Square. Imagine you come from imagine the tourists you came from around the world, right? I've come all the way to Times Square. Imagine the tourists from North and South Carolina or wherever they're coming from. They come all the way to New York City. I'm in Times Square. What's here? Let's look around. It's a Bed Bath and Beyond. Like, it's all the same. What's here in Times Square? It's a McDonald's. Everything is the same. This corporate crap wherever you go, right? So it's already like that with corporate brands. Like even if they had a Cracker Barrel there, it would have been, oh, there's a Cracker Barrel here. It's still, but to then aesthetically make all the places look the same as well, like even across brands, there's no diversity. It's so funny. They say they're about diverse. They are really not. They just use that. It's a Trojan horse. They are not about diversity. Not at all. One brain, one religion, one ideology, one ugly way of looking. Everybody's equal in the rubble. Thank you, Mario. Lindsay, the cynical geek. Hey, Lindsay, for $4.99 says, did you see that they changed the text on the peg game too? Only a woman could have come up with such an embarrassing change. Lindsay, you read my mind. Okay, so my husband and I were at the barrel. I told you we go all the time. We were there maybe 3 weeks ago, less. We were there on a date night within the past month. And the barrel that we go to, nothing has changed yet. I even drove by there yesterday. I went inside. I'll tell you about in a second. I wanted to see, have they done the remodel yet? They have not done it yet, except for the peg games. They changed the peg game. You were absolutely right. And I should have taken a picture of it because it used to be kind of like really funny, like, because I always do the peg game and it used to, like, number one, if you leave only one peg, you're a genius. Number two, something like you could do better. Number three, like you're a fool. It's making fun of you if you don't do well, which is fine. Okay, well, somebody redid it, so it's like you're all winners. It really is like something sort of like you're all winners. And I noticed it, Lindsay, because I always play the peg game. And this last visit, I got only one left. And that's so rare. I was like, look, only one left. And I looked to see what it said, like you're a genius, right? And no, it was basically like it doesn't matter if you got only 2 or 3 or 4, like everybody wins. I'm like, what? No. Genius. Look, I've gotten 3 left enough where it used to, the old one would, kick you in the butt for leaving 3 of them. I expected to be get high praise. Anyway, thank you, Lindsay. You're right. I should pull it up. I should pull up how they changed the peg game. Okay, Randy Wallen. Hey, Randy. What's up, Randy? For $10. Thanks for the super chat. He says, really busy lately. Missed a few shows. Here's some cash just because. Take Tiger out and find a new favorite restaurant. Aw, Randy, thanks so much. We will not be visiting the barrel until we see what they do on this. I hope they reverse course. If they reverse course, I'd be so happy to go back. So I went in, Randy, to the barrel that my husband and I go to yesterday just to see. I had to do some errands anyway, and I was down that way, and I went in and first of all, I took a picture of the outside because they have not changed the logo outside yet, which is great. Then I went inside and I took a peek into the dining area, and they have not done the remodel yet, which is great. And then I went over, you guys will be interested in this. I went over to the register, and one of the people, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, is your manager here? And he was like, no, I'm saying this because it seemed like lots of people have been asking to speak to the manager. He was like, no, can I give him a message? And I said, yes. Can you just let your manager know that another customer came in and said, I'm really appreciative that you haven't done the really ugly rebranding and remodel. And as I'm saying this, he's going, mm-hmm. He's like, yep. And I was like, and just let him know I'm really happy that they haven't done it. My husband and I come here all the time. And if you guys do the remodel like the other stores, we will not be coming back. I just wanted to know we love it the way it is. And he said, and the other employee leaned over and said, we've been telling people all day who come in to go to Google reviews. You're not they were basically like, we agree. They're like, we agree. You should go to Google reviews and you should leave a review because corporate are the ones that make the decision, and they are reading all of the Google reviews and all of the feedback right now. So go and, leave that review. So I'm going to leave that review today on my local Cracker Barrel. I have commented, of course. Look, I'm an OG cracker. I went to the Facebook page. Of course, I already left my comments there. I'm letting them know we're displeased. But if you care about the barrel the way I do, I know it's silly, but this is my Star Wars. If you care about it the way I do, go and leave a review. That's what the employee said to do. Or go in like I did and let them put a face with it and be friendly. I'm never rude when I do these things. Be friendly and be like, hey, I just wanted to let you know. Go into your shop. Why not? Talk to them. So, yeah, Drew says he probably has to hear that all day, every day now. I know. He's like, blink twice if you hate this rebrand server. Yeah, they were like, yeah. Oh, man. Okay. Let me think a couple more people, and then we're going to get into this history of the barrel getting woke. The Assassin of the Gray for $10. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. Says the Marxists are copying the Maoist destruction of the four olds here in America. That is a great historical reference point. Yes, to that question of how is this woke? How is making everything ugly and everything look the same woke? Go and read about the destruction of the four olds, the tradition, beauty. These things just repeat themselves. This is why it's got those Marxist roots. It's got those communist roots. You know, when I jokingly call it commie aesthetic, but it is. It's making everything bland and demoralizing. That's what it is. Thank you very much, the Assassin. Mario Trujo for $10. Thank you, Mario. Says it's also a return to brutalism. It is. To optimize as much space as possible. Yes. The problem is style is a form of substance. And when you remove style, you lose that substance. It's greed on a spiritual level. I couldn't agree more. What a great commentary on this. And Mario, I think if I recall correctly, you've seen Roger Scruton's documentary, his film about beauty. Have you seen it? For those of you who haven't, let me make sure I get the name right because I want you to see this. Our church watched this as part of our Faith and Film series a few years ago. Roger Scruton's written a lot of books about beauty, but he has a film which they tried to censor. I can't remember which there were some platforms that took it down. Why Beauty Matters. I think you can watch the whole thing on Vimeo now for free. But it used to be hard to find. Roger Scruton, Why Beauty Matters. And it's a short little film about all these things we're talking about: brutalism, architecture, aesthetics, interior design, and how ideology plays into that. And what Roger Scruton is saying, which I agree with, and a lot of people have said, and I agree with him on this, is you have to have both. You have to have beauty and function. You can't just have function, because if it's not beautiful, no one will use it. It will crumble. That's why you see crumbling communist buildings, architecture that nobody wants to live in, because it's ugly, it's uncomfortable. Like, you can't just have function. You have to have form also. You have to have beauty. People will want to be in it for generations when it's beautiful. People will want to visit it for generations when it's beautiful. Beauty matters. Randy Wallen for $10. Thanks, Randy. Says Kurt Vonnegut's Harrison Bergeron perfectly laid out the insidiousness of forced sameness. Yes, it did. That's a great phrase, forced sameness. Everyone should give it a read. It's short and it destroys the dystopian future the left wants to force upon us. Yes. As I mentioned, if you look it up, you guys can find it online for free and read it in a sitting. It's not a book. It's a short story. Mario for $2. Thank you, Mario. Says 2 Marios in the chat today. God bless everyone. Oh, there's 2 Marios. And WG, thank you, WG, for the very generous super chat. WG for $50 says, Viva la Waffle House. I guess it is. Viva la Waffle House. I I'm sure you could guess, WG, I am also a big fan of the Waffle House for similar reasons, nostalgia, my Southern childhood, and I don't love it quite as much as the Barrel. The Barrel is like, I have memories of my whole family there and Sunday eating after church, like special occasions, that kind of thing. And I have memories of my grandparents there, which I love. Waffle House is a little different. I have memories of when I was in high school, when college, post drinking fest late night visits. It's not as much family stuff that I remember there as it is, the college years in North Carolina and South Carolina. And yeah, the Waffle House. Here, let me tell you some nostalgia about the Waffle House. I have one of their coffee cups from the 90s somewhere around here. They have, if you don't know this, I think I've talked about it before, but they put out all these albums in the 90s and the 2000s of Waffle House music. I think it's one of the most brilliant, hilarious, funny, kitschy things. They had somebody make songs about the Waffle House and put them on albums, and you can go and download them or buy them, the CDs, or you can listen to them on Spotify. And it's songs like Special Lady at the Waffle House and stuff like this. And they're so good. You got to go listen. If they destroyed Waffle House, I would be equally upset. The waffles. Oh my goodness, Randy Wallen, thank you so much. You guys are being so generous today. I can't let the $50 super chat go unanswered. Matching monies. Randy, thank you, sir. While you're busy running around too, I appreciate it. Thank you, Hype Man, for Deprogrammed. I hope you guys are having fun today. I knew, even though I'm, like I said, it really hurt my feelings that they did this to the Waffle House. I mean, to the Cracker Barrel. Sorry, the Cracker Barrel. I also have been laughing so much. The memes have been so funny. They, like always, when the woke mess up, like they give us a lot of humor, and the internet does what it does, and it does some really funny stuff. So I've got some funny things saved that I'm gonna show you at the end. Let me just show you a couple of things about the woke history of the Waffle House. I'm sorry, you got me on the Waffle House, the Cracker Barrel. Okay, so this is currently up on their website. It's still up. And they've got the old logo here. They haven't changed it yet, but this is their culture and inclusion page of their corporate website. Culture and inclusion. This is their DEI page. It used to be called DEI. They've changed it to culture and inclusion. And it says, everyone feels at home. And I just want to read through what's currently on their website. And then we're going to look at some of the history of how they got here. How did the Cracker Barrel of all places get wokeified? Everyone feels at home. Culture, belonging, there's that woke word, and inclusion. If you don't know the woke dictionary, the woke lexicon, this is a big red flag buzzword, belonging. That's one of the new ones. They like this word now instead of diversity. They basically just, like any cult, they continually come up with new words. If you successfully draw negative attention to how bad the ideology is, and it gets tied to a certain word like woke, woke is a word that the woke came up with. We came up with it when I was in it. But as soon as it gets tied to criticism, then they want to cut tie and like come up with a new word. And they've done that with some of these. So belonging is a new one. And they've been doing this for years now, pushing belonging. Culture, belonging, and inclusion. That's another one at Cracker Barrel. We have a responsibility, it says. Now, responsibility, what? To make good breakfast, Southern breakfast food, you might ask? What are they going to say here? What is your responsibility, Cracker Barrel? Is it to make delicious chicken fried steak cooked just the way we remember from childhood? Is it to make the gravy just with that extra for the mashed potatoes? Is it to make biscuits the way your grandma made them? Is that your responsibility, Cracker Barrel? No. Let's continue and see what they're going to say. We have a responsibility to live up to our mission of pleasing people. Okay. Pleasing people. Each day, ensuring that every member of our team and guests feels at home, feels cared for like family, and feels like they belong Also guiding our way is the sense of belonging we strive to deliver as part of our people promise. Our teams work hard to create a culture of hospitality that's welcoming, respectful, and inclusive to everyone who walks through our doors. Our food and decor celebrate warm memories of the past. Now, they have not updated this because you know what? You just got rid of all the feels like family, feels at home, the decor that celebrates warm memories. You got rid of all of it. And our inclusive culture and beliefs help us. Our inclusive culture? What the heck does that mean? No, your culture, your heritage, up until you just destroyed it up on the walls, is very distinctly Southern Americana. That's the culture. It's not all these other cultures, whatever you are pretending. It's okay to have a culture and a heritage and a tradition that is Southern Americana. That's okay. It's still legal. And it's also not immoral or unethical. It's okay. It's good, actually. We like it. There's something for everyone. Some people love Southern Americana. I do. Your customers do. So they're lying here. Our inclusive culture and beliefs help us make way for an even brighter future together. Why are you talking about the future and what? Just make the biscuits. Discrimination, overt or through unconscious bias. That's a cult term. That's woke cult 101. Unconscious bias has no place at Cracker Barrel Old Country Store. Moving forward together. Look at this. This is commie kind of propaganda right here. We are on a continuous journey of improvement and understanding as individuals and as a company. We believe that when we harness the uniqueness of our differences, we become better. This is all woke gobbledygook. Strategy turns into action. We are committed to our journey of improvement and understanding, and we realize intent alone is not enough. This, you may not recognize, this is woke cult speak. Woke cult tells you that your intent is not enough, meaning when they called out Cracker Barrel in the 90s and said they were homophobic or racist, and Cracker Barrel says, we didn't intend to be. Woke says, your intent doesn't matter. This is really what woke says. Woke says, it doesn't matter if you were saying something racist or not, or if you were trying to say something racist or not. It just matters how I receive it, how the listener receives it. It matters. My judgment, my truth, how I receive it. Your intent doesn't matter. That's woke cult speak. That is an ideological belief. It's an incorrect belief. Intent does matter. But they have it right here in their freaking culture and inclusion mission statement on Cracker Barrel's website. We realize intent alone is not enough. We are committed to making progress through action. Progress? Can you just make some progress on my order? Like when we go, we just want progress in like how fast the order progresses from our lips to the waitress's pad. You probably say wait person now. And then back to the cook. And then we just want it to progress quickly. Why are you, an old country store, talking about any other kind of progress other than the progression of the food into my belly? That's all we care. Yes, Greg, Power Keg Greg, put the bacon on plate. I don't even like bacon, but I agree with you. Just that's all we care about. Why are you getting woke? Then they have all these parts here of their woke agenda culture to educate, advocate, and communicate to create an inclusive, engaging culture and work environment. What? Workforce, attract, select, develop, and retain high-performing talent with diverse backgrounds. You know what that means? No diversity of thought, though. No. We want you to be able to say you're from a marginalized group. That's it. We want a lot of marginalized groups represented. That's it. Diverse backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives, and then business. Build and nurture diverse partnerships in the communities where we live and work, and ensure we have diverse representation in our advertising. Page not found. No, that's gone now. Okay. Therese. Yes, thank you. You are a restaurant. Do restaurant things. Thank you. I feel like this is where we're at with woke culture, right? And the people who are still stuck in it is they think it's everybody's job, it's the government's job, it's every company's job, it's everyone's job to push ideology. It's the church's job to push woke. It's your knitting group's job to push woke. It's Star Wars' job to push woke. It's Cracker Barrel's job to push woke. Everyone needs to be pushing woke, push woke, push woke. No, you are a restaurant. Do restaurant things. Thank you, Therese. That's all you have to do. How about just making good pancakes? Yes. Yes. Okay. Now I'm looking forward to Robbie Starbucks expose. He's compiling, he's going to be doing a video as well, I think later today. Here's one of his posts. He says, my goodness, oh my goodness, when you see what we've got on Cracker Barrel, wow. I don't think anyone knew it was as bad as the stuff we received. We're talking a total capture by leftism at the executive level. We have photos, videos, etc. Should I put it all in one video or release one by one? I don't know, dude. Just anyway. By the way, then he thanks the people, the smaller accounts have been doing this reporting for a while on Cracker Barrel. And this guy here, Virgil Davis Hunt, I've got one of his articles pulled up. We're going to read through it from the Real Pamphleteer. So he's been covering this history, and this is where Robbie's pulling a lot of his info that he's going to be releasing is from this guy, Virgil. There you've got a picture of the rebrand. You've got the traditional Cracker Barrel logo that we all love with Herschel on it on the left. And then you've got this boring crap on the right that says, we're just like everyone else. No differences here. Everything's the same. Just awful. I want to show you the history just quickly. Christina Pashaw shared this for anyone who doesn't know. And I thought I would just pull up her summary because it's a great summary. Cracker Barrel's classic logo included the old timer leaning on a barrel. Here's his backstory. Uncle Herschel was Cracker Barrel Old Country Store's founder, Dan Evans' real uncle. So the guy who founded it was his uncle. The younger brother of Evans' mother. He helped shape not only Cracker Barrel's image, but also its values. He was our own goodwill ambassador to the public. Uncle Herschel was a wealth of knowledge about what rural America's old country stores were really like. He was a salesman for Martha White Flour Company for 32 years, traveling the rural South, calling on many towns' general stores. See, this is who you are, Cracker Barrel. This is where you came from, and this is what we love about you. That's why I said your culture is Southern Americana. It really is. Your culture is Southern Americana and historic, like vintage, old way of living, old country life. That is why we go there, for the nostalgia. That's what it is. And you just ripped it out. That's what woke does to things. They rip out what it is they're about. Serving great food is no longer the primary purpose. Being woke is the primary purpose, right? Your brand, everything you were about, old country store, the past, tradition, you're no longer about that. Now you're about woke. You're just bland garbage. This is where Herschel came from. He traveled the rural South, calling on many towns' general stores. Like many Cracker Barrels today, the community general stores were more than just a place to purchase goods. They were a gathering place for folks to take a time out from the chore-filled day to visit with a neighbor or two, exchange pleasantries, or just talk about the weather. Herschel spent many workdays traveling to these old country stores that were complete with Cracker Barrels, checkerboards, and rockers on the front porch. Yes, I remember when they had the checkerboards. Like I said, me and my papa would sit out there playing while you waited for a table because it was so busy on Sundays. He was quite a storyteller himself and became a familiar and friendly face among the locals in many Southern communities. After his retirement, Herschel brought the longstanding tradition of being a good neighbor to each and every Cracker Barrel store. He spent most of his working life bringing forth the important yet simple message of what makes a business successful, that people should be treated just as we would have them treat us. The golden rule, right? He was known throughout Cracker Barrel for his genuine sincerity, which you don't find anymore either. Speaking of the woke CEO of Cracker Barrel, she looks like if you haven't seen a picture of her, I'll give you a description. She looks like she went into a store and said, "Give me the Rachel Maddow." And they said, "Yes, here's the glasses you need." She's been out there lying and saying that they've received nothing but positive feedback on their rebrand. Not sincere at all. Okay, so let me show you. This is an article from just a month ago. Before we get into that, I'm gonna pull up the past next. But this was just a recent headline about DEI at Cracker Barrel. This is from July 27th. Cracker Barrel faces major pushback over DEI program. Retailers like Target and brands including Bud Light have been hurt by boycotts over diversity, equity, inclusion programs. Backlash over corporate diversity, equity, inclusion policies has led to several major companies downplaying their DEI programs in 2025. And these are some of the successes I talked about, where we are successfully making it uncool to be woke. I think we are pushing that needle, and that's a good thing. And we saw that reflected in the election results as well. McDonald's got the ball rolling in January 2025 as it ended some of its DEI practices and renamed its diversity team the Global Inclusion Team. Well, that's still woke. Look, you've got inclusion right there in the name. They're just renaming it. The company also faced a lawsuit filed by the American Alliance for Equal Rights, objecting to McDonald's and International Scholarship and Tuition Services National Scholarship Program for Hispanic and Latino students. The suit asking that scholarship recipients be chosen on their own merits and essential qualities, since it believes the scholarship unlawfully discriminates against students from other races and ethnicities. Of course it does. It's right there in the name. That's what all this woke stuff does. Several companies have followed McDonald's lead and renamed or eliminated DEI programs and removed references to DEI in their annual reports. Companies include Amazon, PBS, Pepsi, Citigroup, BlackRock, Paramount, United Health Group, Constellation Brands, and Gannett. And now, popular dining chain Cracker Barrel is facing an attack on its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies from legal advocacy group America First Legal, a conservative nonprofit co-founded by White House aide Stephen Miller. America First Legal requested that the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and Tennessee Attorney General investigate Cracker Barrel for alleged potential violations of federal and state civil rights laws stemming from its DEI policies, according to a July 21st statement. The restaurant chain has faced a customer backlash in the past, as in August 2022, when it added a plant-based sausage option to its menu. They don't know their audience, do they? They're like, here, we're going to put vegan sausage on the menu. They just do not. This new, yeah. Look at Cracker Barrel launched its diversity inclusion strategy in June 2021. So that's how long it's been doing. Not long. Like I said, it got woke late. It launched its DI strategy only 4 short years ago, the height of COVID years, kind of late. It included an effort to, quote, better identify, recruit, and advance strong racially and ethnically diverse talent. Why? What does that even mean? I know what they mean by it. I just like to ask that because woke people don't realize all this gobbledygook they speak. They don't know what it really means. Or they just say these words. Do you know what this means? It means we are going to be racist in our hiring. That's what it means. It is against civil rights laws. The restaurant chain also asserted its support for the NAACP and the Urban League, as well as doing more to recognize the LGBTQ plus community. Why? Just make the pancakes. Just make the pancakes. Why are you getting infected with this communism? This, what do they call woke? Gay race communism. It's gay race communism. The company in 2024 shifted its diversity and inclusion strategy to culture and inclusion. See, they changed the name last year to culture and belonging and that thing we just read, focusing on culture, workforce, and business. So that was just a month ago. They're facing this lawsuit, which is great because of their racist, discriminatory hiring practices. And now I want to look at this article from the pamphleteer. Now, this is the source that Robbie Starbuck is going to be using for his video, and I encourage you to watch it when it's out. I'm going to watch it. I can't wait to see it. I love this here at the top, the pamphleteer in Nashville. They've got the Cracker Barrel picture under a photo filter, and it says, "They took this from you." They did. They're taking this from me. They're taking this from me, and it hurts emotionally. It does. Laugh all you want. I know it's funny. It's silly. It's just a brand, but it's my Star Wars moment. I'll say it again. That's the last time I'll say it. The transformation of Cracker Barrel. From the inside out, the Lebanon-based chain has quietly shifted its priorities away from its core customers. This is by that guy, Virgil, who I mentioned before. Okay, this is just a little summary of how they got so woke. And they were targeted. Cracker Barrel was targeted. This has been brewing for a long time. In 1991, in response to customer complaints, Lebanon-based Cracker Barrel distributed a memo ordering restaurant managers to fire anyone whose, quote, sexual preferences failed to demonstrate normal heterosexual values. I just have to say, based. I'm kidding. It's just a funny joke, but still, can you imagine today if they did that and they said, hey, our values are traditional Southern Americana and heterosexual values. So, anybody who's like a drag queen serving, no, look, it's based. So in 1991, following customer complaints, they did this because customers complained. Okay, their customer base didn't like it and they complained. And so they said, hey, restaurant managers, if you've got anyone whose sexual preferences don't demonstrate normal heterosexual values, you should fire them. So primarily targeted at effeminate men and masculine women who worked as servers, like the people that the customer saw, right? The order resulted in 9 employees being fired. So it was 9 people across all of America. Okay, but yeah, it was 9. Caught in the crossfire was Cheryl Somerville, a 32-year-old lesbian cook from Douglasville, Georgia. You should have just let Cheryl cook. Just let Cheryl cook. Whoever fired her made a big mistake. She wasn't even customer facing anyway. And who cares that she's a lesbian? Were the biscuits good? Again, were the pancakes? Just make biscuits and pancakes. Were they good? Was the breakfast good? Then why'd you do this? So mistakes of the past, right? Get overcorrected by woke crap, which goes the other direction. Let's hire gay and people and black people only. You know what I mean? Like it gets overcorrected. Then this whole extremes, we just keep doing this throughout history. So they messed up. They fired Cheryl Somerville, 30-year-old lesbian cook from Douglasville, Georgia. There was no internet then, but news of the firings did not take long to spread. As word of the memo circulated, Somerville reluctantly became the face of the controversy. So this lesbian cook, she appeared on 2020, Larry King Live, and even on Oprah. Meanwhile, a number of activist organizations such as the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force and the Queer Nation organized protests at Cracker Barrels throughout the Southeast. In Nashville, the NGLTF conducted a sit-in during the normally bustling Sunday brunch, ordering the minimum cup of coffee or soda and occupying 97% of the tables as they ground business to a halt. I actually was wondering if we could reproduce this. If my Cracker Barrel in Round Rock goes woke, if they do the the change, and they changed the decor and the sign out front. We should go and just sit and just order a coffee. We should do the opposite until they bring back Herschel and Mima's living room, right? Like that's what we should, our sign should say, bring back Herschel. Okay, so they had this boycott, right? Cracker Barrel presumed that they could get away with this policy. This is a quote, that they could get away with this policy because they thought we were just a bunch of fags and dykes and nobody would care, said the NGLTF's Ivy Young at the Nashville rally. They got a huge shock when they discovered that lesbians, gays, and people of good conscience around the country are speaking out and protesting their bigotry. At the time, there was nothing illegal about the policy. Nonetheless, the protests and negative media attention had their desired effect. Cracker Barrel rescinded the policy just only a month after firing Somerville. Protests continued. This is what happens with the woke. Once you bend the knee, kiss the ring, make the apology, they don't ever, they're not like normal people who are like, oh, thank you, I'm glad we had the intended effect, we're going to continue coming. No, the protests continued. Of course they did. Because these are authoritarians and tyrants, and they have you by the neck now. They've seen blood in the water, and they're going to keep coming until they take more and more and more because they know it works. So protests continued even after the company's official announcement, but beyond the activist community and the media who willingly amplified their message, the incident barely registered. Customers did not seem bothered. Revenues did not slump. So the customers didn't care. The stock price didn't show any signs of disruption, not like with this new woke rebrand, right? In fact, over the next year, the stock price more than doubled. Quote, let's face it, said Somerville, reflecting on the incident in 2014. We didn't have a great deal of support from the customer base. It really took their shareholders to make a difference to bring them into the 20th century. Oh, it's a little much, Cheryl. I know, I agree that you shouldn't have been fired, but that's a little much to insult the customers like that. Why should they care? They have a lot of other things to care about. You're one person who they may or may not have heard about you getting fired, and why should they be? Why do they have to pick up your ideology and your cause? Fast forward to 2024, Cracker Barrel has purportedly put its bigoted past behind it, signing on as one of the sponsors to Nashville Pride. It sponsors Nashville Pride, and engaging with several other LGBTQ organizations such as Out and Equal. Save last year's rainbow rocking chair gaffe, which has notably not been repeated this year. Most of the chain support for such organizations happens out of view of customers. You will not see pride-themed merchandise or even rainbow flags flying at Cracker Barrel. Instead, the traditional American flag bunting continues to adorn the iconic front porches of locations across the country. I am remiss to say this is why I didn't look further, even though I suspected, of course, like every corporation, that they had gone woke. I was just happy not to see it reflected in the merchandise in the store. If I had seen it, I would have investigated further. I would have quit going. But because I didn't, I was appreciative of the fact that they didn't put it in my face, not realizing how they were taking all of our customer dollars and spending it on all this crazy DEI stuff behind the scenes, and millions of dollars sponsoring all these prides and putting out this propaganda that encourages child transitioning, it encourages all the woke stuff. So how did Cracker Barrel, a company that built its entire reputation on serving traditional Southern fare in a family-friendly, down-home setting, end up sponsoring Nashville Pride in 2024? That story begins in 2002 with the world's largest LGBTQ advocacy group, the Human Rights Campaign. The Human Rights Campaign, by the way, is one of the largest woke groups. Excuse the noise. I'm opening a Red Bull. I should not be, but I'm going to have a little bit of a Red Bull. I used to work with the HRC, the Human Rights Campaign. It was one of the gay woke orgs that I worked with when I was in woke entertainment, and I pushed a lot of their crap. I believed just like I believe the whole social justice woke ideology lie about what it was, like, oh, it's about making the world a better place and getting rid of bigotry. No, it's not. It's about enforcing bigotry. It's about stealing and punishing people for things they didn't do. It's about tearing apart the family. It's about turning the world upside down. That's what it's about. The HRC is specifically pretends to be about ending homophobia. It uses gay people the way that woke uses all different quote unquote marginalized groups. The HRC uses gay people specifically. And they're the ones that started this in 2002. At a fundamental level, the story of how Pride Month has exploded into the event it is today can be explained quite simply. 22 years ago, the Human Rights Campaign created an ESG-like national benchmarking tool called the Corporate Equality Index, the CEI, which scores companies based on the, quote, gender identity protections they adopt. Mystery Chris and I have covered this before. When it comes to entertainment, they did the same thing. They came up with this score and they started making changes. They put pressure on networks to make changes and include more gay and lesbian couples, more gay and lesbian people, more representation, more. And they're even at the point now where they are saying, you know, we are. They said this a couple years ago. We've covered this. They said we're at like there's more representation on screen than there is in real life in terms of percentages, but they won't be happy until they're at 50-50. Why? 50% of Americans are not gay or lesbian or trans, but they want it represented on TV that way. And they came up with the whole scoring system. They just made this crap up. And then they gave scores and they forced corporations and networks and entertainment brands and everyone to care. Oh, you don't want to get a bad score from the HRC with their new CEI. They just came up with something. I think we need to come up with some scoring, some anti-woke scoring system. We put it out there. We give it an acronym. The acronym should be something like LAME, LAME or something, you know, and you don't want a very high LAME score. Okay. And we just rank all the corporations and we put it out, and oh my goodness, you better make sure you score well with us next year. We need something like that. That's what they did. They came up with this ranking system. You know what HRC should have said? I mean, what Cracker Barrel should have said is, we don't care. We don't care. But they came up with this. HRC came up with the Corporate Equality Index. They started scoring companies based on their gender identity protections. In August 2002, the HRC launched its inaugural CEI. That's where they came up with this whole ranking system, which rated 319 companies on 7 different criteria, including whether they had a written non-discrimination policy covering sexual orientation or offered health insurance to cover employees' same-sex partners. That first year, only 89 of the companies were willing participants, and a paltry 13 companies received a perfect score. So they come up with this ranking scoring system, and then they say, basically, you all suck. You're not doing well enough by our standards. Of the 319 companies included, nearly 2/3 were Fortune 500 companies. The rest were large private companies, companies that actively sought to participate, or companies about which WorkNet, an internal database maintained by the HRC that served as a sort of LGBT green book, had sufficient information. Cracker Barrel was of the latter variety, meaning they didn't volunteer to be a part of this. HRC singled them out and used them and made an example of them, and it worked. They tried to shame them, and it worked. They didn't voluntarily sign up to be a part of this. HRC put them in it anyway. They were a publicly traded company that wasn't in the Fortune 500, but whose policies had made headlines enough times for the HRC to have sufficient scoring data. Cracker Barrel was not a willing participant, but a subject picked out of a line of suspects. Low-hanging fruit that would make a perfect example. In that inaugural survey, the HRC singled out Cracker Barrel in the opening pages of the report, giving it a score of 0. We give you a 0, they said, Cracker Barrel. We give you a 0. You're not even You don't even get a 1 on our woke scale. You need to be 100. You're 0. That's what they said. They tried to embarrass them. The score and the protracted decades-long media assault on the organization for its chilly LGBT protocols likely resulted in the successful addition of sexual orientation to the company's non-discrimination policy. In November 2002, just 3 months after the CEI was released, so after they got this 0 score from this made-up thing that the HRC was doing, 58% of their shareholders voted in favor of adding the clause, the sexual orientation clause. So it worked. It worked. 3 months later, it worked. In 1993, even after all the negative press that had followed from Somerville's firing, 77% of shareholders back then had voted against that identical proposal. So this new ranking thing that HRC started doing in 2002 worked. As CEI gained cultural clout, Cracker Barrel slowly began to play ball, achieving a score of 15 in 2006 and then a 55 in 2010, resulting in praise. They got praise from local media outlets on their progress. However, this is like an abusive spouse, right? You know, do what I want. I'll give you cookies. Otherwise, the beatings will continue until morale improves, right? However, the transition from traditional to modern was not without hesitation, as the company uneasily tried to tread the line between appeasing the corporate media mob and remaining loyal to its customers. In 2014, do you guys remember this? Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson told GQ in an interview that sin starts with homosexual behavior and just morphs out from there. At the time, Cracker Barrel carried Duck Dynasty's brand items in their gift shop. As the criticism rolled in and the HRC, there they came, the HRC showed up to issue a condemnation of the remarks. Cracker Barrel took the Duck Dynasty items off the shelves. How dare he? I thought you were for diversity, right? Diversity of thought and opinion, and everybody's welcome here. Everybody's family. It's inclusive, right? Not for Christians who speak the truth about homosexuality. They're not allowed to. We're going to punish and take all of the Duck Dynasty stuff off the shelves. They did that in 2014. Then they changed their mind just 24 hours later, 1 day later, after a barrage of backlash from customers. Because the customer base, again, know your customer base. The customer base was not having it. They were like, Duck Dynasty, we love Duck Dynasty. How dare you? And by the way, we're Christians. How dare you? You pander to us in your gift shop with Christian merchandise. You know that much about us, and then you do something like this. In 2019, the company was earning praise from LGBTQ advocates for declining to let Grayson Fritz, a pastor in Knoxville at the All Scripture Baptist Church, hold an event. They got praise from LGBT groups for not letting this pastor hold an event at the restaurant in the wake of comments he made against the LGBTQ community. Comments he made against the community. It's kind of vague. Mary Mancini, then chair of the Tennessee Democratic Party, contacted corporate headquarters about the event, resulting in its cancellation. And of course, to cap it all off, there was the aforementioned rainbow rocking chair. Have you guys seen the rainbow rocking chair? This is cringe. Look at this. Look at this. Cracker Barrel. This is a front of one of their restaurants, and they've got a pride painted rocking chair. And it says Cracker Barrel Old Country Store, proud sponsor of the 2020 HRC Nashville Equality Dinner for the 10th year. For the 10th year, for 10 years, they've been spending customer money on this woke agenda crap. And like an abusive spouse, it's like the HRC comes in, abuses them, calls them names, creates some ranking score and gives them a 0. And then they spend the next couple decades tap dancing, trying to get the HRC to love them. Let us give you money and sponsor your dinners, HRC. Thanks for abusing us, HRC. They should have told the HRC to take a hike. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. That's what they should have said. For those of you, for the deprogram folks who are in Amsterdam and other countries, I know there are some of you, I don't know if you're here today, feisty octopus, but don't let the door hit. I know you like the Southern phrases, some of you. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. That means on your behind. Okay. That's what they should have said to the HRC. But instead, they started spending all this money to sponsor their dinners. Let me go back to this article. Sorry, there it is. Okay. Ah, it's so annoying. The rainbow rocking chair. Okay. By 2021, the company's support for LGBT causes became indisputable. As it states on its diversity and inclusion page, that's when they came up with their DEI page, Cracker Barrel scored 80. They were bragging by then about what score their abuser gave them. Cracker Barrel scored 80 on the HRC Foundation's Corporate Equality Index. They're bragging about it now. This national benchmarking tool measures policies, practices, and benefits pertinent to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ plus employees, and is a primary driving force for LGBTQ plus workplace inclusion. Thorough indoctrination by 2021. In 2023, 21 years after the inaugural CEI survey, 1,386 companies willingly participated. Look how many companies they have running on this treadmill, this woke treadmill for them. 545 of those earned perfect scores. Like they've whipped them all into shape, right? Since its inception, the criteria have changed a total of 5 times. In order to get a perfect score, the abuser keeps changing the criteria. Recent additions award companies for public support, such as sponsoring a pride parade, hence Cracker Barrel sponsoring Nashville Pride. They penalize them for kowtowing to what their customers want, to public pressure. Like when Bud Light distanced itself from Dylan Mulvaney, the HRC penalized them in this made-up score that they give. Who cares, HRC? They should be giving them the finger. Who cares? They should be competing to get a 0. That would be funny. And bragging about it when they get the 0. Turn it on its head. Turn it on its head. Take the Trump approach. In the most recent version of the survey, the HRC added additional criteria for the first time since 2016, including inconceivable policies. This is what you have to have in your policy now to get a perfect score. Cracker Barrel is going to have to tap dance to keep up. Integration of intersectionality. Look at this woke cult speak. Integration of intersectionality in professional development. Intersectionality that's woke ideology. That's the whole idea. That's identity Marxism. That's the whole idea that the world, the best way to look at the world is as a competition for power among identity groups, and we have to redistribute power based on race and sex and sexuality in order to reach equity. It is gay race communism, and they are saying you have to have this at your workplace, or you're not going to get a perfect score from us anymore. We're going to keep upping the ante. And get this, health coverage for trans employees, quote, without exclusion for medically necessary care. Meaning they are forcing, if you companies, Cracker Barrel, if you want a good score from us, they're like the woke mob, the bullies. If you want a good score from us, you're going to have to cover all of your employees' sex reassignment surgery, all their expensive, medically unnecessary gender reassignment surgery. You're going to have to pay for it, or you're not going to get a good score. There's always more work to be done after all. Yep. You got to do the work. That's some of their cult speak. In 2023, Cracker Barrel scored a 30 for refusing to comply with the 2 items mentioned above. So at first they said no. In addition to other criteria, such as providing gender transition guidelines to employees, they want you, when you get a job at the Cracker Barrel, you get a packet about gender transition just in case you want to transition. Oh, good. The barrel will pay for it. The Cracker Barrel customers will pay for it. As new CEO Julie Fels-Massino settles in, it remains to be seen how Cracker Barrel will adapt to the CEI's new criteria. So they have this new woke CEO. She's the one who's responsible. She's got the Rachel Maddow glasses. She's the one who's responsible for getting rid of Herschel, adopting this commie aesthetic, and destroying this brand. Changing, remodeling, the whole decor, all of it. In March, Massino announced that the iconic family change would undergo a series of changes to make it, quote, more relevant. What? You failed. Have you seen your stock prices lately? You failed. You're relevant as a joke now. Hello, fellow. It's like the meme, hello, fellow kids, but hello, fellow woke brands. That's the Cracker Barrel. Am I relevant yet? Massino has focused her efforts on changes like new menu items, adjusted pricing, and interior remodels. Okay. New menu items. That's a great idea. Let's see. I like they've been doing these campfire skillets. Great. It's great. I love the campfire skillet. Pricing. Great. Good idea. Good idea to get people in there. Interior remodels. No. No. Quote, the goal, simply put, was to freshen things in such a way as to be noticeable and attractive, but still feel like the Cracker Barrel. Well, you failed completely. This is what she told investors shortly after her announcement. The stock price plummeted. As an explicitly traditional and Southern casual chain, Cracker Barrel has struggled to balance the demands of a publicly traded company with its steadfast commitment to family-forward traditional mores. So whenever a change is announced, it fills the faithful with anxiety. We reached out to Cracker Barrel regarding some of these concerns and did not receive a response. Since its founding in 1969 and entrance to the New York Stock Exchange in 1981, the company has found itself at the nexus of a number of culture wars. Like many other brands before it, Cracker Barrel is undergoing a transformation. In the process, it is forsaking the old priorities that made it great in favor of higher margins and a younger, hipper, more pulsomanious and interchangeable crowd that will give them less trouble. Following the rainbow rocking chair fiasco last year, an admittedly comical Cracker Barrel has fallen meme spread across social media, with gobs of patrons proclaiming that the organization had gone woke. For the most part, these efforts to internalize the dogmatic demands of the LGBT caucus have happened behind closed doors. The company knows that its faithful patrons oppose such initiatives. Before stepping down, previous CEO Sandra Cochran indicated as much, vaguely attributing the stock's dismal performance to the summer of 2023 to marketing misfires as sales missed expectations due to a decline in casual dining traffic. Massino seems to have interpreted that to mean that the company needs a modern transformation. She claims it is confronted by the fact that its most loyal demographic, diners over the age of 65, have not dined there as frequently since COVID-19, and that it must seek out a newer, younger customer base. The question it now faces is whether the way forward is to accept the dictates of organizations like the HRC. It's not, which seek to sublimate it into just another undifferentiated restaurant, or to double down on what made it great in the beginning: the traditional dishes, the friendly service, the warm, inviting atmosphere, and the clientele that was typified by families settling in for brunch after church. One restaurant to receive Massino's remodel is a location in Mount Juliet. Diners seemed resigned to the inevitability of change in interviews with WKRN at the remodeled location, lamenting the loss of the signature Cracker Barrel look, but sheepishly shrugging their shoulders in response. It's self-evident the company has chosen to abandon the customers that made it into a cultural touchstone it is today, and instead to run off chasing the rabbit of relevance. Well, you know what? Those those diners who were resigned to it and shrugging their shoulders, maybe hope is on the horizon, because this has become such a huge disaster, such a big story, that you've even got leftists like the Democrats account, like Gavin Newsom, like David Hogg, saying it sucks. Everyone's saying it sucks. I think if they're smart, the CEO is going to be fired, and they will start to, if Robbie Starbuck and others, if we put the pressure on, like, you guys need to look at what he puts out. If we put the pressure on, maybe we'll reverse some of these DEI policies, get them to do away with it, like Tractor Supply, like a lot of other places have. It's Cracker Barrel, for goodness sakes. Now that I know that they're doing this, I'm a loyal customer. I'm not going back unless they make changes. I won't be going back. I'm not resigning myself to it. I will resign myself to not going there anymore if I have to. That's what I'll do. Let me pause there. I'm going to thank a couple people, and then we're going to get to some funny stuff. We're going to end with some really funny stuff. Andrew Knapp, if everyone feels at home, it's not your home. $2. Thank you, Andrew. Yes. If everyone feels at home, it's not your home. No, sorry. That's true. We need to put that on a t-shirt. Like, sorry. If every culture is included, there's no culture whatsoever. If every culture is there, it looks like this bland redesign. It's nothing. You get rid of the culture it did have, which was Southern Americana, and you just have this nothing communist crap. Like, that's what that means. Randy Wallen, Randy for $20. Thank you, Randy, for the super chat. Says stakeholder capitalism is a Trojan horse for woke. You're absolutely right. Stakeholders have money in the game, but stakeholder is an ever expanding definition. No connection to the company? Congrats. You're a stakeholder, and we must bend to your demands. Excellent point, Randy. We need to do another episode on corporate woke. I haven't done one in a while, just on why corporations are embracing this ideology that is modern day communist. Like, why would they be doing that? We need to cover that again, I think. Legalize adulthood for $50. Thank you for the generous super chat. Legalize adulthood says, put me over a barrel and crack my ass. Today's the day for Southern expressions. That's what we're going to do. If you got a Southern expression, you can drop it today. And if you're not from the South, and if you're not from America, like I mentioned, viewers in Amsterdam and Germany, you can practice your Southern expressions today in the chat. So he says, well, put me over a barrel and crack my ass. Just kidding. But seriously, this is a simple dereliction of duty by the board of this company to let the CEO destroy $100 million brand of value overnight. She should be fired. 100%. I think she's going to be fired. I think the outrage is so universal. I can't imagine that they don't, no matter how indoctrinated and how infested they are with woke DEI people, I can't imagine they don't get rid of her. They have to. They crap the bed. Thank you for the very generous super chat. Legalize adulthood. And Randy Wallen, wow, today's the big super chatter day. Thank you so much for the generosity for $50. Says another 50, another match by Rando. Good job, legalize adulthood. Randy, thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat, guys, for supporting Deprogram. Fired with extreme laughter. We got some Southern expressions in the chat. That is the assassin of the gray says, that new Cracker Barrel CEO is about as sharp as a sack of wet mice. There you go. She don't have all of her cups in the cupboard. That's what she's shy a few cups from her cupboard. I want to see more. But drop them. If I see any, I'll flag them. Or if there's a mod here, flag the Southern expressions, even if they're not super. Flag them, because I don't want to miss any. Okay, we're gonna look at some funny stuff before we go. And like I said, I mean, I'm going to keep watching this to see what happens. I hope they get rid of her. I hope they reverse course. I can't wait to see Robbie Starbucks expose. He is going to be pulling a lot from that article that we read. So there've been so many funny memes. I dropped my hat in the ring with a couple of memes. No pun intended. Pun intended, actually. My hat in the ring. So here's one. I don't know if you know this meme. If some of my Facebook people probably won't know it. Facebook doesn't seem to know as many of the memes as X does. The memes that young people use. Okay, so usually they'll put a picture up and say something like, "This could be us, but you playing. This could be it's a picture of like a couple or something." So this is me and my meal at a different establishment. This is a brisket barbecue. Brisket barbecue nachos, and it says, "This could be us, Cracker Barrel, but you playing. This could have been us in this picture, Cracker Barrel, but you playing. I'm taking my business elsewhere." I made myself laugh. If nobody else laughed, at least I laughed. This one by Jarvis. I howled this morning at this. I laughed so much. It's probably the most I've laughed since I got my surgery and all these stitches. And since I'm mostly healed now. I mean, I still have to take things a little easy for a few more months, but like 99, not 91% healed, maybe, put it that way. This is the hardest I've laughed since the surgery. Look, he says, "All right, I went and checked out the new Woke Cracker Barrel. People are overreacting as usual. They have new decorations, but the food is still great." And then he has a menu. Now, I did something like this a few years ago, and I have to go find it because I remember I put something about Black Eyed Peas matter. Like I had it, all these. I can't remember why I did it, but I changed all the menu items. He did the same. And he did such a funny job. He said, "This took me 10 hours." Well, good job, Jarvis, because I laughed so hard. I was howling. Okay, look, this is the new Cracker Barrel logo. This is their menu. Breakfast is an all-day thing here. And then they have the different menu items. And if you know the Cracker Barrel menu, this is even funnier because he renamed some of their real stuff. He went and renamed it. So they have land acknowledgement flapjacks. Land acknowledgement flapjacks, and then they have what's in it, right, and the calories and everything, and then down below he has a little southern expression for each menu item. And land acknowledgement flapjacks: "We won't give back the land, but gosh, do we feel bad about it." Okay, then if you go to Cracker Barrel, there's a grandpa and grandma's sampler platter or breakfast platter. There's a grandpa's platter and there's a grandma's platter. Well, this one he changed it to say grandma/pa's gender sampler. And then the quote has what's in it, and then it says, "Don't assume my pronouns, dear." Okay. Then this is Woke Left and Woke Right. Both love to hate on Jews lately. They're both very anti-Semitic. That's their favorite. They're combined on this as being their new target group, their new scapegoat group. And so he has an anti-Semitic steak and eggs, anti-Semitic steak and eggs, and it says, "Jews are white now, you hear? Jews are white now, you hear?" That's what a woke left person would say. Yes. Okay, then they have he has the beautiful at any size breakfast. The beautiful at any size breakfast, and it's a whole bunch of stuff with a bunch of calories, and then at the bottom it says, "Woo boy, that's a lot of food. Good thing it don't matter." Because you're beautiful at any size. Get it? Good thing it don't matter. Okay, then this might be my favorite one. This is probably the best one. This is MAGA country fried steak. I never would have thought of this one. I love this one. You did a good job, Jarvis. This is MAGA country fried. This is MAGA country fried steak. Get it? Country fried steak. This is MAGA country fried steak. And the quote on this one says, it says, "In this here house, we believe Jesse." We believe Jesse Smollett. In this here house, we believe Jesse. I love it's like woke stuff, but he put it in a southern way of speaking. In this here house, we believe Jesse. This is MAGA country fried steak. Okay. I can't read this anymore. I'm going to keep laughing. That's the best one, hands down. That's it. Okay. Then he's also got one final one. He's got Black Lives Matter biscuits. And it says, y'all won't be able to breathe after this meal. And then it says, all right, that's too far. I'm sorry. Whew, there you go. That's the cherry on the sundae at the Cracker Barrel. That's the cherry on the sundae. Well done. This was very well done, Jarvis. Just like the MAGA country fried steak is well done. It's well done comedy. I love it. Black Lives Matter biscuits. Y'all won't be able to breathe after this meal. That's wrong. It's too soon. Right? It's good humor though. Good comedy. Okay. And Pinkova, is it Smollett and gravy? It is. Oh man. Okay. I'm glad you guys laughed as much as I did. That was like, it was the best. There were so many funny things, but I think I'll stop on that one because nothing's gonna make me laugh as much as that one did. There was a really good meme of all of the different brands and it was a picture of them all in heaven, all the different brands that woke killed. So it was like Aunt Jemima and the Indian girl from Land O'Lakes Butter and what's his name, the cream of wheat guy. It was all the brand figures that got killed by woke up in heaven, and then it showed Uncle Herschel rising to greet them. Uncle Herschel was everyone up in heaven now that woke killed them off. That was really funny. I gotta find that one. Oh man, Uncle Ben. Yeah, Uncle Ben was up there in heaven. The Redskins was up there. Yep. Yeah, cream of wheat man. This is the thing about woke. They are so unfunny. They are so not humorous. They don't have a sense of humor. They don't know how to meme. They don't know how to do all these things. When they make all these terrible decisions and destroy everything, I've said this for years. We have to laugh. You have to find joy in it because otherwise you'd just be crying the whole time. You have to balance it. You have to find the humor in it. And they did not disappoint. This Cracker Barrel disaster, they've given the internet hours and hours that people are redoing the logo instead of Herschel. I saw one with Hunter Biden on it. It said Crack Barrel. I mean, they're having so much fun with it. The internet, the memers. I made one. Oh, wait, I will show you one more. Let me close because I made another. Whenever I make a meme, I feel like such a boomer. I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X, but you get called boomer. And when I make a meme, I'm pretty proud of it. I'm like, look, kids, I did a meme. Okay. This one, I made this one. At least it makes me laugh. It's just, if they're gonna go woke, this is a classic woke SJW. I just put her on the logo. I did one of Sam Smith too. Like if they're going woke, there you go. Just so silly. But everybody's having so much fun with it and making fun of it, and I hope it's with good results. I hope that they reverse course and they fire the CEO. And like I mentioned, if you care about Cracker Barrel like I do, leave a Google review, or if you have one near you, go in and talk to them, tell them in person, be friendly, and leave them feedback in person about how you don't like this rebrand. It matters. It matters a lot because imagine them at their staff meetings. They're like, yeah, we had this many people come in. We had people come in. They're so upset about it. Like, say something. So, Pirate. Keri is boomer adjacent. I am boomer adjacent. You know how Gen Z calls everybody boomer. It's so silly. But, okay, guys. I had fun today, even though I'm bummed about what they're doing to the barrel. And I hope you had fun. I felt like we're just going to cover it all in this episode. We're just going to get right into it. And I knew it was going to be a good one. I hope you have a great weekend. If you are in Germany or Switzerland, my husband is there right now on tour. You can go and check anthonygarciamusic.com I had plans to go. I know I see some of you guys in Germany. Every time he goes on tour each year, I usually go with him. And I had to cancel my flight this year because of this writing job that I have. I had to be here for some deadlines. So that's really a bummer because I love going with him each year. But you can go out and see his band. I know they played the Zug Jazz Festival tonight, which is always a great festival. And I know he's going to be he's got a couple of dates in Switzerland and then a few in Germany. It's a shorter trip this time. It's just 2 weeks, but go to anthonygarciamusic.com and you can see where he's going to be at. Oh, hey, I'm in the north in Hamburg. He's in the south, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's just like in Munich but if you go to anthonygarciamusic.com, you can see where he's at. Should add Hamburg. I've had a couple people tell me they're up in Hamburg. Hey, Therese, fun show, Keri. Everyone have a great weekend. You guys have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday at our regular time at 2:00 Central. And I'm going to be putting out clips. Like I said, if you see the clips with the FBI whistleblower, Marcus Allen, please share the ones you like. Take care, guys. I'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.